Hello, my name is Bruce Coane. I am an immigration lawyer, board certified in immigration and nationality law, and I've been practicing immigration law for over 25 years. Today we're going to be talking about the filing of lawsuits to compel action by the Immigration Service, particularly with regard to naturalization and green cards.
Could you tell us about lawsuits used to compel the Immigration Service to take action on naturalization cases?
Yes, our law firm has been filing lawsuits probably now for over 20 years to compel all sorts of action by government agencies, especially with regard to the Immigration Service. And this has been in the form of lawsuits to compel them to make a decision on a naturalization case or on a green card case.
Why is it necessary to file a lawsuit in federal court regarding a green card or naturalization application?
Well, what happens sometimes is an individual may file a case, they may file for their citizenship or for their green card, and unfortunately the government could take a long time to get to their case. Sometimes it could be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or maybe the government, the Immigration Service, starts the case, then they lose the file, and nothing seems to be getting done on the person's case. And the rules of procedure and the rules of the U.S. courts allow individuals to come into court and complain to a U.S. district judge that their case is being unreasonably delayed, and then it would be up to each individual judge to decide if they should issue an order compelling action by the government.
Could you explain some of the problems with delays with FBI security checks?
Sure. One of the major delays these days is due to FBI security checks. And what that means is that in order for a case to be approved by the Immigration Service, first the Immigration Service has to get a report back from the FBI saying that the individual's record is clear and they're not on any terrorist lists or any other problematic lists. Unfortunately, in some cases, and government statistics show it could be as much as 10 or 15% of all cases filed, these security checks can take years. And as a result, it brings great hardship to people who are trying to get their cases finished, who want to become U.S. citizens, who want to be able to vote, and it becomes very problematic that the security checks are being delayed indefinitely.
Okay. Could you tell us about some of the successes you've had in filing lawsuits on green cards or naturalization applications?
Yes, over the years in our doing these types of lawsuits, there have been all sorts of reactions from the government. In the early years, 15, 20 years ago, once a lawsuit was filed, normally the U.S. attorney would get involved and would get with the agency and get the case resolved. Unfortunately, in more recent years, in the last 3 to 5 years, it seems the government is taking more of an aggressive approach in trying to fight these lawsuits rather than trying to do the right thing and get the cases resolved. So when the government chooses to fight on a case, and they don't do that all the time, they just do it some of the time, but where they choose to fight these cases, then they typically argue that the case should be dismissed for jurisdictional reasons. And at this point, at this time, the courts throughout the country are split on this issue. Some courts say they have no jurisdiction. Some courts say they do have jurisdiction and they'll make a decision. So the filing of a lawsuit at this time is somewhat unpredictable as to what results it will bring. In the past, it typically brought, most of the time, a very good result. Nowadays, it's somewhat unpredictable, but still, most of the time, it seems to bring a good result.
Is it possible to obtain attorney fees if you prevail on a lawsuit regarding a delay in adjudicating a green card or naturalization application?
Yes, that's a very good question. Over the years, we've gotten many checks from the government reimbursing the attorney's fees on the case. But not too long ago, the U.S. Supreme Court said that unless you get a judge's order compelling the government to take action, that you cannot recover your attorney's fees. So if the government chooses to resolve the case on their own without a judge's order, then normally you won't be able to get attorney's fees. On the other hand, if they choose to fight the case and the judge makes a decision, then it would be in the discretion of the judge to award attorney's fees. Many times the court will, or the judge will not award all the attorney's fees, but might award some attorney's fees. So it is certainly possible if an individual hires a lawyer to represent them on this type of case that they can recover some or all of their attorney's fees. But certainly going into the case, that should not be high up on the list in terms of relief that you seek to get, because it's not going to happen very often that you do recover attorney's fees.